I think the first person that kind of shared this isn't somebody that I've worked with directly, but I'm sure you've heard of CK and you know Tim Ferriss or know of him, right? He taught this. I thought was brilliant, and he calls it fear setting. And there's 3 steps to it. And here's what I would invite the viewer to do is when you feel that resistance. Let's talk about the exact example that you gave, CK, which is your business now can't be run. It's shut down. Maybe you run live events. You've got to figure out how to take your business and make it virtual. There's probably a lot of fear around that. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure. Let's just say fear of failure. What most people do is they try to pretend like that fear is not there. They distance themselves from it. They try to ignore it when in fact they need to be running towards it. Because I believe that fear is the only thing that gets smaller the more you run towards it. So to do that,
I like that.
Yeah, that's a little bumper sticker right there.
I love that. Yeah.
To really look at that fear, one of the things that I do, and this is a journaling exercise, is instead of pretending like it's not there, I literally write out that fear as the worst case scenario. Like I literally write it out as the nightmare that I'm most afraid could happen. And I get into painstaking detail around if this happens, then this could happen. And I literally follow the pattern all the way to the end. And doing that allows me to, number one, almost distance myself from the emotional charge of it. It allows me to look at it rationally and first see the likelihood of that worst case scenario happening is so slim, even though my mind makes it like it's the only option. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
So that's the first step, right? Writing that out. The second would be once you're clear on that picture, then I would list out what are the things that I could do to prevent this worst case scenario from happening. And there's always something that we could do. There's a person we could talk to, we could seek support, we could provide support, there's an action we can take. There's always stuff that we can do to prevent a bad outcome or the worst outcome from happening. Once we look at that, that fear begins to get a little smaller. And then the last thing is, let's just assume that the worst case scenario happens. What are the things that you could do to repair it? And that's the third step. So if this does happen, okay, how could you move through this and grow through this? And
so preparation, and what was the second step?
Yeah, first one is writing out the worst case scenario, like the nightmare.
Okay.
The second step is writing down what could you do to prevent that from happening.
Prevention, okay.
Yeah, what are the actions you could take? What are the people that you could learn from or people that you could help to ensure that that doesn't happen? And then the third is, if it does happen, which is very unlikely, what do we do to repair it?